Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to jump into the monster manual and look at a really good monster that's a bag of hit points or a good encounter, depends on how you want to play it. The Ettin. They are very rare, not 1 to 4 appearing, armor class 3, 10 hit dice. They 2 attacks, one for 2 to 16, the other for 3 to 18. They're only surprised on a 1 on a 6-sider. Standard magic resistance, intelligence is low, chaotic evil. They are 13 feet tall, so they're large. Ettin are giant-like creatures which dwell only in remote areas. Their lairs are always underground, for they prefer darkness and are nocturnal. And Ettin attacks with both arms, its left head directing the left arm and the right head directing the right. Blows from the former arm cause 2 to 16 points of damage, and the right inflicts 3 to 18. One of the Ettin's heads is always likely to be alert, so they are difficult to surprise. And in the description, it is evident from their appearance that Ettins are closely related to orcs. Their animal skin dress is typically moth-eaten and filthy. Ettins use spiked clubs and similar weapons. Okay, pretty straightforward, just a monster you're going to throw in. He's going to be in the dungeon. Your players are going to fight him, and he's got a good armor class at 3 and 10 hit dice, so he's going to be formidable. He's doing some good damage. Okay, that's one way. Another way to do it is to give him a little personality. It says here intelligence low. Well, I did one that had an head of average intelligence, and then the other head, I don't remember if it was the right or left, the other head had high intelligence and had in fact learned to cast spells. I gave him some magic user spells. There was a magic user who had been in the area. It was part of the campaign I was doing. This legendary magic user had been in the area, and he was an eccentric, and in this case, the Ettin was taught magic by the eccentric magic user that had been in the area, and the Ettin itself was about 40 or 50 years old and had had access to magic use ability for a while. So in addition to all the hit points, I made him intelligent, and I gave him, I think it was 3rd level magic user, or no, it's 5th level MU abilities up to 3rd level spells. That made the encounter a lot different. He was able to use his intelligence, direct the other head into what to do, and cast the spells. Now, one of my players asked, hey, wait a minute, if one head controls the one side and the other controls the other, how does he cast spells? My answer initially was very carefully. Second was he had developed and learned a way that he would only need one hand to do the somatic gestures for the spell. It was just something a little different I did just to kind of shake it up a little bit. My players opened the door, there's the Ettin, oh, this is going to be easy, and the Ettin hit them with a 5-dice fireball. They were not expecting that. It was a fun encounter and really kept them on their toes. This guy was around in the dungeon for a while, because this guy was working on his own little agenda and was trying to recover a lost treasure that was in the dungeon that the players were there for. So he was actually a rival for them. Now, with his other head not being as bright, he still had the ability to fight with each hand and to inflict a lot of damage physically, in addition to his prowess as a magic user. It's just one way to use an Ettin. The idea that they're not surprised because one head is almost always awake is also pretty neat. If you're trying to sneak into a place and there's an Ettin out there, you've got a good chance of not making it. And they prefer darkness and are nocturnal. I give them infravision. It doesn't call it out for it here, but I do give them infravision. So it can be formidable to try to sneak past an Ettin. And that's really all I've got to say. There's not a ton to this monster. It only got 3 paragraphs under its write-up. I've used these very well in games, but using the one as the magic user was one of my better moves. They did defeat him eventually, or them, I should say, and they were able to loot the treasure that the Ettin had accumulated. And it was kind of interesting. It was just a different kind of game. It was a different kind of encounter. People were not expecting it. I ran this back in, I think, the mid-'80s when I did this idea with the Ettin having magic use. It was just something kind of weird and squirrely I felt like doing for that particular game, so I went with it. Ended up being a lot of fun. So there you have it. Take a look at monsters. Think of different ways you can use the monsters. You can have the Medusa posing in a city as just a woman who lives somewhere, on the outskirts of the city, and it turns out she's really Medusa, things like that. A lot of different things you can do with these creatures beyond their description. Just because it says low intelligence doesn't mean you have to leave it low. And a Ettin with both heads that have a high intelligence could actually be very good at coordinating large forces to attack the local village or to lead the foray against the players. So it's always something to consider. Also in battle system, that could be quite formidable if you had an Ettin general. The two heads sharing generalship of a large army. That could work out really well. But that's all I've got to say on our good friend the Ettin. I'm going to say goodbye to both of these guys right now. Let me know what you think if you've used Ettins in different ways. Let me know your thoughts on it, and let me know how it went for you. Also, please remember the Patreon. Please take a look at that. Like and subscribe for the video. Let's keep the channel growing. And I'll see you next time on page 121.